Please help me welcome Hillary to the stage.
I moved to Edmonton in the year of 2016. I didn't know much about the city other than from its nickname, Edmonton. But nevertheless, I was here and I was excited to be here. Like a lot of newcomers to a city, I didn't have a social network when I first moved here. And so naturally, as a result, there were a lot of times when I was just pretty darn lonely. So I tried everything. Meetups, Edmonton Sports and Social League, volunteering, even dating apps. And I made a few friends. But it wasn't until I joined the local community league that I found my community. Now, some of you longtime Edmontonians or otherwise might be wondering, what is a community league? They're sort of like a neighborhood council that allows local citizens to get involved in their local government. In fact, Edmonton was the first city in the entire world to formalize the community league system. So upon joining the local community league, I proposed that we should have a bike club. I personally really enjoy biking, and I felt that the proximity of Oliver to the river valley meant access to endless bike routes. Turned out we already had a bike club, the Oliver Bike Club, so I just took it over. So I planned to have bike rides every Wednesday evening throughout the summer. But in hindsight, I had absolutely no idea what I was signing myself up for. I was expecting that we'll have like a handful of cyclists here and there throughout the summer, but I was proven wrong very quickly. On our very first bike ride itself, we had close to 15 cyclists. And there are other evenings where our bike club resembled sort of like a peloton. But what was more amazing than that to me was that our members came from all walks of life. We had retirees. Our youngest cyclist was a 3-year-old. Artists, healthcare professionals, pastor, male person, you name it. Together as a group, we conquered pesky hills and relished the downhills together. We celebrated our milestones and supported one another in our personal goals. One of our members completed her very first mini triathlons this summer, and another met his goal of being able to commute to work on his bike every day. Over the 5 months, we explored Edmonton together. We went south all the way to the Green Gold Farm. We explored the neighborhoods in the west of Glenora and Westmount, and Gold Bar Park in the east. I was super anxious when I started this bike club about running out of ideas for the bike rides, but there were endless places to be discovered in Edmonton. One of my most favorite bike rides this summer was the public art bike ride. And here we biked around the city and explored different public art pieces. And we were really lucky to have Dave from Edmonton Arts Council, who joined us on the bike ride and talked to us about the public art pieces there. This was also the largest group we had, with close to 30 cyclists. After our public art ride, Dan from Heritage Forward reached out to us on Twitter, and he wanted to do something similar, but for heritage buildings. And so this is where our heritage bike ride came from. And here we had so much ground to cover that we actually had to schedule part 2, which never happened, but that's another story. Our last bike ride was just in time to celebrate the opening of the beautiful Indigenous Art Park in our city. Here, once again, we had Chelsea from Edmonton Arts Council, who talked to us about the 5 public art pieces there. We saw a whole new side of Edmonton, one that we typically miss from our cars. Exploring Edmonton on a bike gave us a chance to really take it slow and breathe and feel Edmonton. But more importantly than that, it gave us a chance to connect with those around us. This club gave us all a sense of belonging, an element that is highly crucial for our mental and physical well-being. Oliver has close to 20,000 residents, making it one of the most dense neighborhoods in all of Edmonton. But despite living among so many people, a lot of us tend to lead pretty darn lonely lives within the walls of our condos. Seniors, newcomers, caregivers, and young professionals are among those who feel the impacts of urban isolation most acutely. And while we're connected more than ever virtually, it's no replacement for that in-person human connection that we all need for our health. Studies show that city dwellers have an almost 40% higher risk of depression, 20% higher risk of anxiety, double the risk of schizophrenia. Mental illness also drives homelessness and addictions, as well as the increasing costs of dealing with their side effects with paramedics, police, hospitals, and emergency shelters. While this may seem like a pervasive problem that should perhaps be left to be dealt with the municipal government or healthcare providers and city planners, I truly believe that our neighborhoods can make a real big impact here. As communities, we need to create opportunities for one another to be able to connect with one another and create that sense of belonging. After our bike season, we had a little party. It was a cold, dreadful, rainy day, but nevertheless, all of our regular bike club members were out there. And each of them made a special and unique contribution to the party. Penny and Denny brought wood for the fire pit. Matt brought his ultra-sleek lawn chair, mostly just to make us all jealous. Allison brought her dog, Shep. Robert brought his guitar to play us some tunes. And everyone's favorite, Peter and Justina brought their tandem bike to share with us. And just like at our party, I believe that everyone here has something special and unique to contribute to our communities. All we really need is an opportunity to do so. As individuals, we are stronger and more resilient when we have a community we belong in. I encourage everyone here to think about ways you can help foster a sense of belonging with residents in your communities and neighborhoods. And in your neighborhood could look a little different. It could be a community garden, a book club, a podcast club, a knitting club, a dancing club, whatever floats your boat. For me, it was starting a gang of everyday cyclists. Thank you.